The courtroom was still, but the atmosphere was thick, like it was weighed down by 1,000 unspoken secrets. Christine Brown was seated at the plaintiff's table, her fingers quivering just a fraction as the clerk spoke her name. Across from her, Cody Brown, once her spouse, her companion, her spiritual advisor, wouldn't even glance her way. This was not a divorce hearing. It was more profound, more perilous. It was about justice, and all that followed after love had perished. The case was given a title shouted on every tabloid, every family room television: Brown versus Brown, the family that fell apart. Christine had sued Cody for fraud, coercion, and emotional exploitation, alleging he had used their spiritual marriage as a means to control money and decisions for years, while secretly building a financial safety net with Robin, his lawful wife. When the bailiff requested order, all eyes shifted to the Brown family, Janelle, Mary, and Robin in the back, their faces literally half hidden behind tension. Reality TV is what started this, but now reality itself played out, raw, unfiltered, and in public. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" Christine nodded. But her eyes told otherwise. This was never ever about truth, it was about freedom. Christine's lawyer, a cool but hard woman by the name of Dana Moore, advanced. "Mrs. Brown, could you please tell the court in your own words why we are here today?" Christine took a deep breath, her voice shaking but resilient. "We're here," she declared, "because I was in a 26-year marriage where my voice did not matter. I was instructed to be quiet, to hold the family together. But I'm finished shielding deceit." Cody's jaw grew tight. His lawyer took notes, mumbling something into his ear. For the first time, Robin raised her head, her eyes welling up. She didn't want this. They didn't. But they had all been a part of it. The first evidence struck like a hurricane. Bank statements. Lots of them. Christine's lawyer put them up on the screen. Shared accounts, joint businesses, and mysterious wire transfers from Cody to Robin, listed under LLCs Christine had never heard of. "Mrs. Brown," Dana asked gently, "did you ever agree to these transfers?" Christine shook her head. "No. He said everything went into one family account. That's what he said to all of us." Cody's eyes flashed. "That's not true," he barked. Christine had her own card. Her own spending. She walked out when she didn't get her way. The judge held up a hand. "Mr. Brown, you'll have your say." But the room had already changed. The man America had once viewed as a proud patriarch now found himself under oath, and trapped. Christine's voice broke as she went on. "Do you have any idea what it's like to be invisible in your own marriage? To sit across a table where every decision's already been made, and you simply smile in order to survive?" A low rumble ran through the courtroom gallery. Janelle's hand shook. Mary blinked harshly. Even Robin's lip trembled. These were not mere wives. They were women who had experienced alternate chapters of the same book. Christine went on. "I loved Cody. I believed in him. I traded my independence for a dream we all had. But that dream became his power." Dana faced the judge. "Your Honor, we will demonstrate how Mr. Brown manipulated numerous joint assets under false pretenses, including the Coyote Pass property and the jointly held family trust." Gasps were heard. Even Cody's lawyer flinched. Coyote Pass, the land that they all had dreamed of establishing on. The land that represented one. Christine glared at Cody. "You said that land was available to all of us. You lied." Cody sat forward. "You walked away from the family, Christine. You walked away from the covenant." Her response came swiftly. "A covenant made on lies is not sacred." Silence. For a breathless, long moment they said nothing. Even the judge relaxed, gazing at their faces, as if he too had ever seen the show. Farther on down the street outside the courthouse, it was lights and cameras flashing like lightning. Christine didn't pause to chat. She just whispered to Janelle as they moved away, "It's only the beginning." Within the vehicle, she finally relaxed. "I never believed I'd be suing the man I once prayed with." Janelle spoke in hushed tones. You're not suing a man, Christine. You're fighting for all of us. But Christine understood tomorrow the defense would strike back. And Cody's camp also had secrets, things buried deep, never intended to see the light. Tone darkens, trailing off into suspense. As the lights in the courthouse flickered out, there was one person left inside, Robin. Alone in the deserted courtroom, she trailed her fingers on the witness stand, the same spot she could very well end up sitting in. She muttered to herself, "He said he'd protect me." But promises are broken, and tomorrow the truth would take the witness stand. The following morning, the courthouse was faced by a pale gray sky, as if the world itself held its breath. Cameras covered the steps, voices repeating the same question over and over again. Is Cody going to testify today? Christine passed by them without looking back. Within, her lawyer leaned in and whispered, "Be calm. They will try to shatter you." Cody arrived a minute later, his expression calm but colder than yesterday. Robin followed behind him, eyes reddened from last night's tears. He didn't take her hand this time. He moved like he was headed off to war. The gavel came down and the room became quiet. The defense made their move. "Your Honor," Cody's lawyer declared, "we will demonstrate that Mrs. Brown's allegations are emotionally motivated and financially unfounded." Mr. Brown was open. Choice was made as a family. She's distorting history out of bitterness. Christine's gut clenched. Open. The word turned like a knife. She had been open until the agony had rendered her invisible. Sometimes the most deafening deceptions are spoken in the most gentle voices. The first witness was brought in, Robin Brown. She shuffled to the stand, wiping tears from her eyes. Cody looked away. The courtroom hummed with murmurs. "Robin," the lawyer started softly, "you've been charged with profiting from covert financial transfers. Can you clarify?" She hesitated. Yes, there were transfers. But Cody said they were temporary. For the family. Dana stood up right away. "Did you ever question where the money was coming from?" "I believed him," Robin said, her voice cracking. "He told me it was for all of us." "Mrs. Brown," Dana went on, "did Christine understand?" Robin shook her head. "No. He told her she'd react badly." The courtroom buzzed. Cody shifted restlessly. His eyes met Robin's in a silent plea, "Don't do this." Christine looked down at her shaking hands and recalled all the times she'd swallowed her voice for the sake of peace. The truth doesn't blow, it seeps, one confession at a time. Cody's lawyer replied promptly. "So, let me get this straight, you never saw Mr. Brown's stash money, right?" Robin nodded. "No stash. He just didn't clarify everything." "Precisely," the lawyer grinned. "A misunderstanding, not malpractice." But the atmosphere in the room had already shifted. The jury did not look convinced. The audience leaned forward. Even the judge was fidgety. Christine's attorney stood up again. "Robin, did you know that in those transfers Christine's name was being taken off family property deeds?" Robin's eyes grew wide. "No, I reply yes or no." I didn't know." Christine's tears at last flowed. Quiet, held back, but unrelenting. Robin hid her face. "I thought he loved us the same. When love is divided, someone always gets the little piece." Cody stood up abruptly. "Enough!" His shout boomed through the courtroom. "You believe I was perfect? I was attempting to keep this family together while the rest of the world was ripping it apart." The gavel of the judge came down. "Mr. Brown, sit down." But Cody refused to sit. "She left me. She embarrassed me on TV, and now she wants to destroy me here as well." Christine's voice was steady, broken but sure. "You destroyed yourself, Cody." Silence once more. 20 years of pent-up emotion hung heavy in the air. Pain remembered is more dangerous than pain felt. The judge adjourned for a recess. Christine followed, her attorney in tow. In the hallway, reporters yelled questions. "Christine, was Robin betrayed by you?" Are you pursuing criminal charges? She said nothing. She reached back instead for Janelle waiting in the hallway. He still thinks this is television, she breathed. Janelle nodded. He doesn't get it, it's survival. Back in the courtroom, Robin sat isolated on the stand after all the rest had departed. She spoke under her breath. I didn't intend to lie. I just wanted peace. Peace, however, for the Browns had long been the disguise for something more sinister. When court reconvened, defense presented new evidence, a tape. Cody's lawyer played it. The speakers crackled and Christine's voice erupted from the room, screaming, angry. I don't care anymore, Cody. You can keep everything. The attorney grinned. Sounds like a woman claiming financial abuse or a woman who changed her mind. Christine's throat constricted. That was after I discovered the transfers, she whispered. Her lawyer stepped forward. Play the next 30 seconds. The room heard. Christine's taped voice came back, softer now, quivering. I just want peace, even if it means losing everything. The faces of the jury changed, sympathy overtaking doubt. Cody averted his eyes. Broke voices can speak the most naked truths. Later, cross-examining, Dana asked, Mr. Brown, did you ever threaten economic repercussions if your wives left you? Cody's jaw muscles tensed. No. Did you ever say to Christine she'd forfeit her interest in the property if she wasn't cooperating with the show? He paused. That's not the way I said it. How did you say it? He leaned forward, voice shaking a little. I said loyalty had value. Gasps. Robin closed her eyes. Janelle covered her mouth. Christine looked at him, a tear trickling down her cheek. You made love into currency, Cody. He remained silent. The judge's face grew cold. Some truths don't kill people, they reveal who they were all along. By the end of the day, Christine's evidence had swung things around. Courtroom that had once witnessed a fractured family now witnessed something else, a pattern. Control. Secrecy. Power. But one last thing was lacking, the mystery of the missing $80,000 in their joint account. Neither had brought it up yet, but both were aware it would be mentioned. That amount dangled in the air like a specter waiting to speak. With the sun dipping below the courthouse steps, Christine stood on the sidewalk, the wind dragging hairs across her face. It's almost over, she murmured. Janelle's voice shuddered next to her. No, Christine. It's only the start. Tomorrow, Mary testifies. Christine turned, surprised. Mary? Janelle nodded slowly. And she's no longer on his team. The imagination camera pulls back, capturing their figures against the diminishing light, two women held together by pain, moving toward another day of reality. The lights in the courtroom flickered as if the very walls were preparing for what was to come. Christine sat silently, hands folded, the soft buzz of hushed speculation ringing in her ears. Today was different. Today, Mary Brown, Cody's first wife, the woman he had been with the longest, was going to get on the stand. She came in slowly, dressed in subdued colors, her face inscrutable. Cody did not glance at her. Not even once. He stared at the table in front of him, his fingers drumming impatiently. Robin nibbled at her lip, and Janelle braced herself, feeling the tension snapping through the air. The bailiff swore Mary in. In a voice nearly a whisper, she replied, I do. The judge nodded to Christine's lawyer. Ms. Moore, you may proceed. Dana walked up to the stand gingerly. Mary, thank you for coming. You were spiritually married to Mr. Brown for more than 30 years, I believe. Yes, Mary replied quietly. Spiritually. We divorced in name so he could legally marry Robin. And at that point, did you know about the finances of the family? A hesitation. No one ever really did, except Cody. Cody rocked in his seat. His attorney murmured something, but he did not answer. Dana went on. Mrs. Brown, did you ever see anything out of Mr. Brown's behavior that left you wondering how he managed family money? Mary cast her eyes to her lap. I did once, but I told myself it wasn't my business. Denial isn't silence, it's survival masquerading as loyalty. The lawyer set down a page on the screen. Mary, this is a letter you wrote to Christine 2 years ago. On it, you spoke about a missing balance from the joint family trust. Do you remember writing it? Mary's breathing caught. Yes. I didn't believe what I saw. But I discovered there was money missing, around $80,000. Courtroom was in an uproar. The missing funds. Christine's gut nodded. Janelle's face paled. Where did you get that information? In an account Robin and Cody established in Flagstaff. I was doing reconciliations for a tax return. When I inquired about it, he said it was for property development. But the money was spent within a week. Did you have any idea where it was spent? Mary hesitated. Yes, part of it was used to pay off a personal loan. The rest went to a private account under Robin's name. The gallery gasped. Robin's eyes flooded instantly. That's not true, she shouted. The judge raised a hand. Mrs. Brown, you'll have a chance to respond later. Cody's jaw tightened. Mary, you're twisting this. She looked at him for the first time, voice trembling but fierce. No, Cody. You manipulated all of us. Sometimes the ones who shatter you are the same people that taught you how to keep quiet. Dana came in closer. Mary, why now? Mary's eyes softened. Because for years I had told myself I was worthy of less. That love required sacrifice. But it was control. And I watched Christine walk away. She was brave enough to do something I couldn't. Christine's eyes shone. Their eyes met across the courtroom, two women tied together by different types of pain. Cody's lawyer stood up. Objection. Emotional testimony. Not relevant to the claim for money. The judge furrowed his brow. Overruled. Please proceed. The defense attempted to rebut, but Mary did not flinch. You want the truth? She asked, voice breaking. He said to me if I remained faithful, I'd never have anything to fear. That the family would never betray me. But he meant as long as I obeyed. Gasps. The words hung thick, heavy as smoke. When the truth is finally revealed, it doesn't whisper. It screams through the holes of each shattered vow. Christine's attorney leaned forward. Mary, did you ever see Mr. Brown threaten anyone financially? Mary nodded. He said once to Christine, leave and you'll lose everything. Even your name. Christine's eyes went wide. She hadn't realized Mary overheard that. Cody banged his pen onto the table. You're turning it around again. I meant she'd lose the family, not the money. The gavel of the judge came down. Enough. The subsequent silence seemed infinite. Mary's voice became soft once more. He used our religion as a tool. He said obedience was spiritual power. But obedience only kept him in power. Courtroom whispered again, reporters writing frantically. Closer you are to truth, the louder fear attempts to break in. Hours of grilling, then Mary was released. She walked out slowly, going past Christine. For a fleeting moment, she paused. I'm sorry I didn't speak sooner, she whispered. Christine smiled weakly, tears hovering once more. You just did. In the courthouse hallway, journalists thronged Mary, crying out questions. Do you support Christine? Do you think Cody had money hidden? She hesitated at the steps, gazed at the cameras, and matter-of-factly declared, I think the truth should be heard, no matter who it hurts. Back inside, the defense scrambled. Cody's attorney whispered frantically, but Cody looked hollow now. Like the years of control and pride were crumbling all at once. Robin sat motionless, staring at nothing. The judge called for recess. Christine stayed seated, her fingers trembling over her notes. Janelle touched her shoulder. He's losing control, she whispered. Christine shook her head. He lost it years ago. We're just seeing it now. Even when justice seems at hand, the past still knows how to haunt. Courtroom filled once more for round two. Cody stood this time, deciding to represent himself. I made mistakes, he said quietly. But I never stole from my family. Every dollar I transferred was for protection. To create something. Christine's lawyer inquired calmly. So why conceal the accounts? He paused. Because no matter how many times I would try to take charge, someone would say I was controlling. I quit justifying myself. Is that leadership or guilt? Dana asked. Query lingered. Cody looked down at the floor. You can interpret it any way you want. But I loved them. Robin's voice cracked out of the back. Then why do I feel like I'm next? Everyone turned. Robin stood, trembling, tears streaming. You told me they were crazy. You said I was the only one who understood you. But now I see you just needed someone new to control. Cody looked shattered. Robin, stop. She shook her head. I can't keep pretending. Courtroom fell dead silent. When allies crumble, the truth finally has space to breathe. Order was called by the judge, but the damage had been done. Christine remained motionless, the slightest quiver of shock on her face. Robin's words had cut deeper than any witness. With the gavel slammed to close the session, Cody fell back into his chair, eyes empty. Courtroom slowly drained, the reverberations of betrayal lingering like specters in the air. Christine stood last, glancing back one more time at the man she once loved. I didn't come here to break you, she said softly in her mind. I came here to remember who I was before you. Sighed, the storm clouds finally burst, rain pouring down the courthouse steps as though the sky itself had to wash away the truth. Janelle shook her umbrella over both of them. Tomorrow's closing arguments, she whispered. You ready? Christine gazed up at the gray sky, her gaze firm now. Ready or not, it's time to finish this. The rain continued unabated since the previous night. Courthouse steps shone slick and black, as though they were grieving something only the Browns knew. Inside, the air was claustrophobic. Cameras snapped. Papers rustled. But the true din was the silence between each heartbeat. Christine sat upright today. Her eyes no longer shook. She wasn't there to live anymore, she was there to get it over with. Cody arrived a few minutes later, his tie a bit askew, his complexion pale from sleep deprivation. He scanned the room for Robin, but she wasn't there yet. The judge arrived. Court is now in session. Mrs. Brown, are you ready to proceed? Christine nodded once. Her attorney rose. Your Honor, today we will discuss the money mismanagement in the family trust, namely newly introduced evidence overnight. Cody's attorney glared up. Objection, Your Honor. The defense has not had a chance to examine this evidence. The judge looked over the glasses. You'll get that chance after it's introduced. A big screen lit up. Christine's lawyer, Dana Moore, clicked the remote. A series of scanned documents materialized. Digital transfers, account statements, and something new, an email exchange. Your Honor, Dana started. These are emails between Mr. Brown and a property consultant engaged in Arizona. The consultant verifies that money from the Brown Family Trust was diverted into a private land transaction under an alias account in the name of R. Sullivan. Courtroom fell silent. Cody's attorney snorted. There's no indication that alias belongs to anybody here. Dana clicked once more. A new document materialized, an application for the same account scribbled in script. The room leaned in as one. Christine stonewalled. The signature was unmistakable. It wasn't Cody's. It was Robin's. Sometimes the truth doesn't come knocking, it crashes through the door when you least expect it. Gasps of shock permeated the courtroom. Robin had just appeared from the side corridor, eyes wide with surprise, cradling a folded sheet of paper in her hand. She came to an abrupt halt when she noticed her name on the display. Your Honor, Dana stated composedly, we ask to bring Mrs. Robin Brown back to the witness stand. The judge nodded. Bring her forward. Robin trembled as she renewed the oath. Cody was stiffly ahead of him, refusing to look at her. Dana moved closer. Mrs. Brown, is that your signature? Robin faltered. Yes, but I didn't know what I was signing. He said it was paperwork for insurance. Who said it? Robin's eyes welled up. Cody. The room was filled with murmurs. The judge struck his gavel. Order! Cody rose, voice breaking. That's not what happened. She knew what it was. We talked about it as part of our property investment. Robin came to face him, her voice shaking but determined. You told me it was to keep us safe. You told me the others didn't have to find out. He bashed his hands on the table. Because every time I attempted to do something right, they turned on me. Christine's voice cut through the tumult, calm and slicing. You didn't keep us safe, Cody. You kept yourself safe. Power isn't lost in an instant. It seeps away every time someone ceases to believe your tale. The judge requested order once more. Mrs. Brown, go on. Robin dabbed her tears. I didn't know how much money it was until later. When I questioned him, he told me not to worry. That Christine would never know. Christine looked down at the floor. She could still hear Cody's voice from years before, reassuring, confident, convincing. The same voice that had promised safety. Dana addressed the judge. Your Honor, we rest our case upon the evidence of misrepresentation and coercion. Cody's attorney stood up. The defense would like to call Mr. Brown to the stand. Transition was instantaneous. The tension in the room intensified, as thick and electric as thunder. Cody stood, buttoning his coat. He approached the stand methodically, as one who moves toward his own mirror. The attorney spoke softly. Mr. Brown, can you explain to the court your motive behind these stories? My intention, Cody replied, his voice low, was to keep this family intact. I started everything we had from scratch. Every business, every building, it all came from my effort. I only wanted to safeguard it from disorder. And did you ever intend to hurt your wives financially? No. Never. They profited from everything I did. Dana rose for cross-examination. Mr. Brown, you used the phrase protect from chaos. Did you mean protect from your wives? He paused. Sometimes. They didn't grasp long-term planning. Or disagree with it. His voice grew cold. They didn't grasp the larger picture, which only you could perceive. Cody sat up straight, tone biting. Someone had to direct. The judge's eyebrow shot up. Dana moved closer. Did directing involve making choices without approval? He parted his lips, then closed them. His silence told more than any response could. Silence is the sound of control breaking down. Dana went on quietly. Mr. Brown, all your years as the leader of this family, did you ever apologize? He blinked. For what? For treating them as less than equal. For terrifying them. Cody's jaw clenched. I did what I thought was right. Christine blurted out suddenly, her voice shaking but firm. You did what was easy for you. Cody's face turned on her. I gave you everything. Christine stood up. No. You took everything and called it love. Courtroom fell silent. Even the air felt frozen. The judge finally spoke. That's enough. We'll recess for 1 hour before closing statements. Sometimes the quiet after an argument is louder than the shouting ever was. Cody stepped off the stand slowly, shoulders slumped. As he passed Christine, their eyes met for the first time in days. There was no hate left there, just exhaustion. Years of it. Outside in the corridor, Robin sat isolated on a bench, holding her hands. When Christine passed by, Robin spoke softly. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Christine stopped. You were just trying to survive him too. Robin lifted her gaze, red-rimmed eyes. Do you think the judge will believe me? Christine let out a soft sigh. It's not about belief anymore. It's about truth. They both sat silently for a while, two women who had once shared a husband, now commiserating over a sort of sorrow neither of them knew how to speak of. Inside, the atmosphere thickened as people resumed their seats. Pundits hushed over speculations. Cody seemed smaller now, his voice subdued, his assurance shattered. When the judge stepped out once again, Christine drew in a breath. This was it, the last stretch to the verdict. When truth finally rises, even power lowers its head. Dana stood to make the closing argument. This case is not only about money, she said. It's about trust, about a man who promised unity and gave manipulation. It's about women who thought that love was silence until one of them finally saw that silence was killing her. Cody's attorney protested, but the judge dismissed it. Dana went on, voice increasing with each sentence. 4 years, Mr. Brown constructed his universe on deception. Today, his universe imploded, not because Christine sought revenge, but because she sought freedom. Christine gazed down, tears running her cheeks. Each word was a snippet of her life let go. The defense was up next. Mr. Brown is not a villain, his attorney uttered softly. He is a man who made mistakes, mistakes born of attempting too zealously to guide a family that no longer had faith in him. You can label that control, but you can also label it heartbreak. The judge heard, inscrutable. When the arguments were finished, the courtroom was a sea of quiet faces. The judge retired to deliberate. Christine stepped out into the dying light, the rain at last easing. Janelle followed, silent but determined. Do you think we did enough? Christine breathed. I believe the truth did what it had to. Cody stood in the courthouse window above, observing them depart. For the first time, he wasn't angry. He was hollow. The family he had constructed out of faith and domination had turned against him. Sometimes losing control isn't punishment, it's freedom in disguise. Courthouse lights that night flickered out one by one, leaving only the reverberation of all that was said and left unspoken. Tomorrow, the verdict would be announced. And regardless of what it was, the Browns would never be the same. Morning light creeps on the walls of the courthouse as if it's nervous to touch what is going to happen within. The day of the verdict. No reporters yelling now. No laughter. Only murmurs that weigh more than truth itself. Christine sits in the front row, her hands folded. The furrows on her face aren't caused by age, by survival. Next to her, Janelle breathes softly, unshakable like a boulder. Across the aisle, Cody sits alone. No Robin by his side today. Just quiet, and the soft tap of his foot against marble floors. Everyone is called to stand by the bailiff. The judge enters, somber, clutching the verdict letter. Nobody stirs. Nobody even inhales. Court is in session, he announces. This court has considered the evidence, the testimonies, and the financial records on trial. The decision has been made. Cody raises his eyes, eyelids red but unyielding. Christine's chest constricts. She knows whatever comes next will rewrite it all. The judge thunders, clearing his throat. In Brown versus Brown, the court has ample evidence of financial misrepresentation and coercion. The trust accounts are dissolved, and assets must be divided equally between all legal parties. A room-wide gasp spreads across the space. But the judge is far from finished. Additionally, the court acknowledges Mrs. Christine Brown's independent position on the issue of emotional distress and awards sole ownership of her share of the Coyote Pass property. Christine's hand rises to her mouth. Tears brim, but she doesn't allow them to fall yet. Cody glares at the floor, his jaw clenched. His empire, his domination, undone by one sentence. Justice sometimes doesn't thunder, it speaks softly in the most unexpected times when nobody anticipates winning. Courtroom is electric. There is a murmur of reporters speaking in hushed tones. Cameras go off. But Christine doesn't notice any of it. She only notices the pounding of her heartbeat and the way that her name means something all on its own. Cody rises slowly. "Your Honor," the judge interjects. "This court has spoken. You may appeal, but as of now, the order remains." He slams the gavel. And just like that, it's over. Years of tangled love, loyalty, and power, reduced to a final echo. Christine steps outside into the sunlight. Feels foreign, almost too bright. She takes a deep breath, tasting air that finally belongs to her. Behind her, Robin exits quietly, her eyes hollow. "Christine," she calls softly. "I'm sorry." Christine turns. For a moment, the air shudders with all the things they could have said to each other over the years. Apologies, regrets, forgiveness that never materialized. "I know," Christine says at last. "We all got swept up in his storm." They stand there, two women once tied by religion, now set free by truth. Freedom isn't always victory, sometimes it's starting over. Cody leaves next, striding through the cameras, avoiding the yelled questions. "Cody, any comment? Any regret?" He doesn't respond. His gaze darts briefly to Christine. There's pride and shame and confusion. Then away. Janelle appears at the bottom of the stairs beside Christine. "You did it," she whispers. Christine shakes her head. "No. We did. All of us. Even the ones who never showed up." They stroll towards the parking lot, the courthouse growing small behind them. The wind blows harder, sweeping away old echoes. In his car, Cody sits by himself. His face in the rearview mirror appears older than he can recall. He presses his palms on the steering wheel, mumbling to himself, "I was just trying to love them." But love based on control always turns out the same, alone. When authority disintegrates, love poses the sole question that truly matters. Was it ever true? As Christine pulls away, her phone buzzes. It's a text from Mary. "Saw the news. Proud of you." Only 5 words, but they cut deeper than any verdict. She smiles through tears. The road ahead stretches on forever, but this time it does not intimidate her. Later that night, Christine is in her backyard. The sky radiates orange with sunset. She is clutching a box, the final fragments of her previous life. A wedding photo, a family bracelet, a handwritten note from Cody that previously vowed forever. She sets the box down, lights one match, and stands watching the flame dance. "I kept my promise," she says softly. "Just not the one you imagined." The flames crackle gently, consuming the past. Her face shines, reflected in the fire, strong, steady, free. Endings aren't about loss. Endings are about reclaiming the voice you never knew you had. As the fire dims, Christine stares up at the stars. Somewhere, she pictures her daughters watching, learning, breathing the same freedom air. The world outside of her is finally quiet. No court din, no judgment, no manipulation, just the silence that sounds like peace. She closes her eyes, whispering, "Let him tell his story. I've already written mine." The camera lingers on her face as the music swells, fading into the last image, Christine standing in the glow of her own courage. And maybe that's what justice really looks like. Not a verdict, but a woman who finally stops waiting for permission to live. It's been 3 weeks since the verdict. 3 weeks ago, Christine left that courtroom and entered a whole new silence. The world was not quiet, however. News networks spun their own tales of the truth. Some hailed her as a hero, some a traitor. But truth wasn't crafted for headlines, it was crafted for healing. Christine scrolls through her phone on the kitchen counter. Sister wives explode in court, Cody's fall from grace. She breathes in. The words no longer hurt, they merely sound far away, the echoes of a narrative she is no longer the main character in. Janelle rings. "Hey," she says quietly. "Seen what they're saying online?" Christine laughs. "Which bit?" "They're calling you the Queen of Freedom." Christine smiles weakly. Guess it's an improvement on what they used to call you. They both laugh, a sound that's good again, fresh, airy. But when the laughter stops, Christine's gaze wanders to the pile of unopened envelopes on her side table. Legal correspondence, property deeds, custody reminders. Freedom, as it turns out, is form-stuffed. Sometimes healing doesn't begin when pain ceases. It begins when you finally don't need closure. Cut to Cody's place. Camera cuts through a room with dim light, half-closed blinds, mounds of ancient paperwork covering every surface. He sits at the kitchen table, alone, surrounded by silence. TV is playing a rerun of Sister Wives in the background, his own face etched in younger days, smiling with 4 wives standing beside him. He mutes the TV. Can't tolerate the sound. Robin enters quietly, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "You should eat," she says. He doesn't respond. His voice is empty when it arrives. "I just can't believe they think I'm the villain." Robin sits across from him. "Cody, sometimes being the leader doesn't make you the victim." He glances up at her, the last woman still in his corner. "You think I did all this wrong?" She pauses. "I think you stopped listening a long time ago." He winces, as if she struck him with the truth. She doesn't apologize. 'Cause sometimes love requires honesty more than reassurance. Toughest truth is that the person you sheltered the most was the one keeping you stuck. Cut to Christine strolling through her backyard, coffee mug in her hand. The wind has the scent of rain again. There is a moving truck outside. New furniture, new paint, new beginnings. Her daughter truly is racing around the yard, giggling, chasing after their dog. Christine observes her and smiles. That particular smile you only find on individuals who finally breathed a sigh of relief after years of having held their breath. Janelle shows up with boxes. "Ready for this?" she asks. Christine nods. "Ready to begin something that belongs to me." They begin unpacking, kitchen items, old pictures, small items that weathered the storm. Janelle takes out one frame, the glass is cracked. It's a picture of them, all of them, years and years ago, smiling like nothing in the world was ever going to shatter. She looks at it for what feels like hours. "We really thought it would last forever, didn't we?" Christine nods. "We thought love could heal control. But control doesn't want to be healed. Ending is simply the universe making space for something bolder." Cut to Mary. She sits in her small cafe, wiping down tables. Business has been slow since the trial. People whisper, wonder whose side she's on. But Mary doesn't care anymore. She's too tired to choose sides in a story that was never fair to begin with. Her phone buzzes, a text from Christine. "Coffee next week?" "Just us." Mary stares at it for a long moment, then types back, "I'd like that." For the first time in months, her shoulders slump. Relief. Connection. The beginnings of forgiveness. Sometimes forgiveness isn't for them, it's how you tell yourself you made it through. Cody's tension thickens. He's pacing now, furious. "I gave everything to them." "The houses, the money," Robin interrupts him. "They didn't want your money, Cody. They wanted you to listen." He pauses, shaking his head. "They didn't know what it was like to construct something grand." Robin's voice breaks. "You constructed it so large you couldn't see us anymore." He thumps his fist on the counter, the ring resounding. "I was attempting to salvage this family." Robin's tears fall. "No. You were attempting to salvage your pride. The silence which comes afterward is cruel." You can almost hear their love shattering, not with a crash but with a defeated, despairing sigh. Sometimes the most deafening sound in love is the point at which it ceases to struggle. Cut to Christine at night. She's journaling in a candlelit room. The house is quiet. Her writing is even measured. Voiceover narration, her internal monologue. "I thought freedom would feel like running away. But it's more like finally standing still. I once believed that love was staying no matter what. Now I know love is also about knowing when to leave." She closes the notebook and gazes out the window. The moonlight falls on her face softly. Outside, we see her shadow against the glass, no longer trapped, no longer waiting. Cut to a montage, the wives in their own worlds. Mary opening her cafe early in the morning. Janelle watering plants, humming to herself. Robin sitting by herself, gazing at a picture of her children. Cody walking down the deserted driveway, the camera following behind him like a shadow that finally released. Dorms always leave someone standing in the sun trying to figure out how they survived. The final scene fades in, Christine at her daughter's school event. Parents chatting, children running. Ordinary life. Teacher approaches. Mrs. Brown. Christine smiles. Just Christine. The teacher nods. Your daughter did a great job today. Christine turns to glance over. There sits Truly laughing with her friends. No fear, no tension, just pure joy. That's when it hits her. This is what it was all for. She takes a deep breath in, smiling to herself. Thank you, she whispers, to no one, to the universe that has at last listened. Camera looks up towards the open sky as the soft music plays. Freedom doesn't destroy the past, it shows you how to stop living in it. Beat, and as the screen goes to black, the voiceover comes back one final time. When love, faith, and truth finally collide, someone always walks away stronger. But ask me in the comments, if you had to choose between peace and control, which would you fight for?